Here we go.
Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's the Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
Welcome back to another episode of the Good Brothers. I'm Alex, that's Mike. We are the Good Brothers, the bestest brothers. We are your middleman from New York to LA, across the entire world. We are here to tell you everything about pop culture, wrestling, sports, murder mysteries. That's a different show, isn't it, Mike? Say hi to the folks.
Hi, folks. Mike, that is a different show, but they are at the right show. They want to have some fun in the world of the entertainment, the pop culture, and two brothers just going at it because they cannot agree on anything except for when they agree on almost everything. Good brother, how much fun are you having this holiday season, all things being equal, knowing that we got a bunch of cool stuff down the pipeline, that you've seen a bunch of cool stuff, and knowing that the holiday season is here, which means Christmas is around the corner?
Like Halloween, I'm very much a Grinch with the actual holiday. I love the movies and the TV specials. You ever seen those things where they post like 9 movies, you got to pick 3?
Yeah.
Man, for Christmas movies, I have a real tough time because there is like at least 5 out of the top of my head that are all-timers, like classics. They stand the test of time. They are 100%. So it's always hard for me to pick 3. Maybe we'll do a fun episode for the Quarantine Files eventually more near Christmas to finally put it on paper what our favorites are. But I love Christmas movies. I love the energy, and I think this year more than any, we do need that wholesome, hey, you don't have to have a lot. You don't have to go anywhere, but like it's the holiday. You're with your loved ones. Like that's one thing we know is you're probably going to be minimum with a few of your loved ones. That's okay. Like take that as a win, and I appreciate that about this season, even though I am the living Grinch himself.
Well, you know what was the life of the party, good brother, was the latest episode of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. So spoiler alerts for all those who have not caught up with season 2 of Mandalorian. Good brother, we finally really got into the crossover of Star Wars and the cartoon canon into now real life mainstream canon. We've met the different Mandalorians, and of course one of our favorites, Katie Sackhoff, is now one of the lead characters. Sasha Banks is on the show. So many things happening. We're getting ready to see Giancarlo Esposito really make an impact in the show.
Yeah, we heard his voice. I'm like, yeah, go get him,
We'll
Gus.
see the Black Saber, so I'm super excited. What did you think about the episode?
It is one of my favorite episodes of the entire series. It's funny because Bryce Dallas Howard I like both her episodes. Both her episodes are my top 3. I think the one where they do the prison escape in season 1 is probably my number 2. This might be my number 1 this week's, but the one where they have to protect the small village, those are 2 of my favorite. That's Bryce Dallas Howard. I love the homage she gives to her father when the spaceship is crashing. She does the exact same sequence as in Apollo 13. Her father, Ron Howard. I think she's really coming into her own. I think she's really catching. I think she does the child better than anyone else at this. Well, not the Mando and this. That's fine if you like other people the way they direct the certain episodes. But I think purely the child makes you do some great child moments. Like I'm sitting there like a little girl being like, look at the baby. Like eking, Mike, like a grown man eking of this little child that I know is fake, but I would kill you for this child.
Oh yeah, I would kill for
Getting to see Katie Sackhoff, we're big OG Schmodown people, so Schmo's Entertainment. So seeing her from listening to her on podcasts and YouTube to seeing her in Star Wars, and I know she was the voice of Clone Wars, but to see her physically is awesome. And of course, it's boss time. We are big Sasha Banks marks. We called the title switch for this reason, and let's be honest, it's working out pretty well for them.
But to see Katie Sackhoff from voiceover world, because, okay, first of all, Katie Sackhoff is beloved in the community. I never got into this show specifically, but she is beloved because of Battlestar Galactica.
I still got to get it. I will. Winter break, I will. I promise.
But she is beloved in there. I love her as one of the main bad guys or recurring bad guys in The Flash. She's amazing in The Flash.
She's great. I like her voice, but her voice as well.
But her voice acting as Bo-Katan in the Clone Wars.
Fantastic.
And now seeing her look like Bo-Katan. And when you see her come out and she's one of the first people to be the voice actress and the real actress.
It's a huge step for voice actors. This gives you a lot of hope of like, man, maybe she's living proof that you're like, we've always discussed it for years now, generations even of, well, we can't do that's different. It's different kind of acting. And man, did she come out hot being the first to be like, well, no, like you can do both. So I'd love to see if this becomes a trend. Because I would love to see it be a trend. Because there's some great voice actors out there. I mean, we saw that Kevin Conroy got to be Batman in the Flash series.
Sure, so
That's
that's
fun.
happening, yeah. And we really fast, some shout-outs. So Sasha Banks, obviously, as we know
It's
her
boss time
in WWE, but because WWE is being the way they are with the whole Twitch and OnlyFans and everything, she's credited as Mercedes Varnado.
Great name.
So shout out to her, give her dues, because I don't want WWE to be taking her dues.
A good old Cali girl, you know.
So shout out to her. I love the episode. So let's go ahead. You wanna just dish on the episode. A lot of people, this is what I've heard, a lot of people really enjoyed the episode because while it felt like a fetch quest mission, still a side quest, it still really got you into, we now got development on the different races of Mandalorian. Because if you watched any of the other canon, you realize that even the part, Bo-Katan, she's kind of an extremist, just as much as Mandalorian is.
In
just
different styles, in different
like
ways.
Jin and her are different in different ways. You know, they're much more of an old relic, and they believe in this way of like, the Mandalorian is a fixture opposed to them who are radicalized. And I'm really interested to see how that plays out in itself. I love that they introduced that to main story canon, to main fans who are watching The Mandalorian for the first time. It's like, okay, they can't take off their mask.
And they did it very subtle. Like, it's very subtle of like, oh, so like not all the Mandalorians believe in one law. Like, this is very split. It's almost a religion thing. But they do it so subtly of like, oh, so like there's bigger than this. Like, there's Mandalorian, but there's half that believe, no, we can do this, this, and this. And the other half that's like, well, no, we have to do this, this, and this.
And now we understand why the black saber is so important if you aren't in canon. So we're going to be speaking now as if you're only watching the television show. You don't know any side canon, any cartoon canon. Now you understand why the black saber is so big, because with Moff Gideon, Giancarlo Esposito, our favorite Gus, has the saber. Bo-Katan, Katie Sackhoff, can't take over Mandalore without it.
That's hers.
That's hers. That's her birthright.
Yes.
So she cannot become, King of the North. She cannot she cannot get to the Iron Throne without that black saber.
Yep.
So that is kind of like I like that they've introduced that now we have a goal end for the Mandalorians.
It goes to show you that, one, they're opening up the world so much, but it goes to they're building this. Like, again, we talked about it before the season premiered, that you and me were very much fans of, I don't want you to, like the boys, don't blow your load in 3 seasons. No. I want to know that I'm going to have 5 or 6 good seasons ahead of me. And this is what that did. I felt like if you didn't like episode 2, this was just a part 2 of it. I almost felt like, I know some people's complaints about this episode 3 of this season, but total I think is 11, episode 11.
This is chapter 11.
Chapter 11.
Yeah.
I think it was too short. But to me, I looked at it as
33 minutes.
Well, if you look at it as an hour from the first one, since it was all part of it, well, then you get that. We get the drop of, okay, now we know where we're going the next 2 episodes. And I feel like they're setting you up of like, we're not filler, but we're not always going to give you a history lesson. We're not always going to give you. Sometimes it is just a fun mission. Sometimes it is, we need to get to point A to point B before we can tell point B's story.
And I also don't want you to do 45 minutes if you don't have 45 minutes.
Exactly.
If you only have 33 minutes of a story I want to see, only give me the 33 minutes. I'm okay with that. I hate this fandom of like
a certain this amount of time means success.
No, it's like that's like saying like, oh, this you're a good NFL player because you could run a 4.1, like a 4.1 on the I'm trying to think of a thing for pop culture. It's like saying it's like saying a movie is rated R makes it better.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Like that
or
doesn't
PG-13,
exist. Or
where
PG-13,
like plenty of movies have proved otherwise.
So like there's certain circumstances where something leans more into that, but like this is a case where like 33 minutes is enough time to tell a proper story. How many people love The Office and that's 22 minutes?
That's what I'm saying. What more to the episode do we want? We had a perfect mission. We had a continuation of last week with the frog lady and her babies. Mm-hmm. We learned that the child is learning. He's learning about life. So he didn't understand an egg to a human, to an actual animal. And now he understands, oh, that's a living baby. I'm a baby. Like, you're seeing him learn. I love that.
Yeah.
And you get the hugest Jedi drop at the end of, like, this is where Ahsoka Tano is. And I'm like, oh, snap, Ahsoka's coming.
And then they're going.
We'll get her in 2 episodes. I think it's funny because nerds like us, we can tell who's directing episodes. We're like, okay, Filoni's not doing it until chapter 13.
Would you like to know? I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I actually have it. So,
you can tell what's going to happen by director, so go ahead.
Chapter 4 is being directed by
Robert Rodriguez?
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers. So we're going to get Carl Weathers and Cara Dune, I'm assuming. If I had to guess, he's going to go recruit them. He needs help.
And then in episode 5 is Dave Filoni.
That's when we're going to get Ahsoka Tano for the first time. Mm-hmm. And then I know Robert Rodriguez is going to get one.
I can get you the rest of the list.
Yeah, give me the rest of the list. But I think for nerds like us, it kind of helps us to determine, okay, this is where we're going to go with certain episodes.
Oh, they haven't announced, at least it hasn't been announced.
Well, who's doing which ones yet?
So all it says is TBA.
Okay.
So we're going to have, all they have said for sure, this is how funny Wikipedia is. That they have TBA for episodes 6, 7, and 8, chapter 14, 15, and 16. But chapter 12 and 13, which are episodes 4 and 5, Carl Weathers and Dave Filoni. So everybody already knows.
And we already know Taika's doing one. I think Favreau's doing one. Don't quote me on that one. And Rodriguez is doing one.
So we know the rest of them.
So we can kind of guess. But we know by this that like we're going to get some sort of mid-season of like, oh, we're getting a
John is doing the season finale.
Yes.
So I'm pretty excited about that. Okay, so I love that they talked about Caravus. Mm-hmm. And they're like, it's the Jedi planet.
Yep.
So like, oh my God, they're really gonna finally.
They give you a lot of nice Easter eggs.
I'm so surprised that Sasha wasn't a Jedi.
Yeah, but it's almost better that she's a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're gonna get a lot of bounty hunter stories going forward. Because now you have a Jedi story, now you have a bounty hunter story. You still know where this world is gonna lead. Because obviously this takes place in the middle of stuff, but there's enough behind you. Like, it's very interesting. And again, we get an Obi-Wan tie-in because obviously Obi-Wan was messing around with, homegirl's sister. Mm-hmm. So, like, there's so much you can do, and I love that about this show. And this is the best thing we've gotten all year. This or The Boys if you want to tie them. Obviously, Esposito is a god because he was on both those shows playing a great role, but it's such a subtle role that he does where like we haven't gone full evil just yet, but it's coming.
Now, the only thing that I'm a little worrisome about is I didn't like Dave Filoni's episode in season 1. That was the gunslinger episode where he meets the other bounty hunter that tries to be Harrison
That's
Ford.
the weakest episode, I would say, but even I would still say it was a very good episode. I understand that people really don't like that. I think it's more with the acting than the actual story.
Yeah, I didn't like the Han Solo ripoff and like how they just did it.
I like how it should have ended, did it where Han Solo comes in and shoots him instead.
Yeah,
it's like, you're in my booth.
Yeah, no, okay.
I watched it again recently because I rewatched the series. I don't hate it. I really don't. If you can get past the, hey, man, though, like, you really, it's fine.
I like the AT-AT, the AT-AT being used as a crane.
Yeah, I love it.
I think like it's just so cool because like the Star Wars world.
I like how even the fish are wearing fisherman sweaters. Like that's funny.
Nettings,
like
and like there's a whole planet of them because like that's also what's really cool about watching this series grow. And I want to see how Deborah Chow does it with Obi-Wan, even though that's probably just going to be on Tatooine. But I want to see how like every creature we've seen in Star Wars. They come from somewhere.
Yeah, and that's fun. Like, they'll find this random alien from the original trilogy and be like, oh, we're going to make a people out of that. And like Salacious Crumb. You know, we see him cooking in the first episode of the entire series.
So with that, how are you enjoying Mando Season 2?
I love it. I want to see more with, I want to see more with the Crime Syndicate because in this episode, we do hear someone talking the language Jabba talks.
The Hutts. So, you know me, I love Solo, and I'm like so into seeing that old rumor when we were younger, Martin Scorsese doing a Hutt movie. Yeah.
Man, that's something I want. I want to see the crime mafioso syndicate of the Star Wars universe run by Jabba Do Baba.
I love this season. I love everything they're giving us. I'm hooked on it. Every time the child comes up, we're getting just enough of him. He's still adorable. I love that they let us see him walk and move around because it makes you endear him even more because he's a living creature. He's not CGI. I also think that the stiffness of Baby Yoda, that he doesn't walk so smoothly or that it doesn't look like it kind of looks like he's a little doll moving, makes me even love him more because it's not just a CGI character. There's an actual doll on set.
I love, man.
Like I think to me that's what makes it so cute. Is because that's an actual thing. It's not a CGI Baby Yoda.
It's a puppet.
It's an actual living
it walks.
thing.
It moves.
And even the way it does, that it's a little janky. I like it. Yeah, and it's like when he's eating the little spiders and like he gets scared.
Oh, I love the ending. Don't play with your food.
Yeah, don't play with your food.
And then it turns around and it's gone.
I love that he...
their relationship is just... That's what I'm saying. I think Bryce Dallas Howard does the best relationship with them too.
Yep.
Like... Some of the best moments we get from him and the kid have been her 2 episodes.
Yeah, the child and Mando have this great relationship. And, you know, I wonder... I heard Kevin Smith talk about this on his podcast, that Disney obviously makes characters because they want to make money, right? Obviously. But think about this. They obviously were a little slow and behind the eight ball when it came to making merchandise for Baby Yoda.
Oh yeah, and now it's everywhere.
So, but they obviously didn't make this to show. They made it to make money, but
they did. I don't think they thought they would get everyone knows about Baby Yoda. Everyone, you can hate Star Wars. You're like, that baby's real cute though.
And what is it about him that's so cute? I mean, because at the end of it, Yoda isn't cute.
It's a baby.
But Baby Yoda, because he still looks like a little old man, but in a baby form.
Yeah, they make fun of him with his wrinkles too.
Yeah. I love, we'll gush a little bit more about Baby Yoda, but he's being taken away from the little frog. He's like, no, I already have too many pets. Mm-hmm. I like that too because they call him his little pet, but that's his little baby. That's his homie. That's his little son.
He's the dad, and I think that's what, as a character growth, you're seeing him really establish that role of in season 1, he's more it's a pet, and then it becomes a mission. And then it really, toward the end of season 1, you really establish that, no, you need to look out to him like you're his father. And I think you're seeing that these 3 episodes of the amount of care he's really putting into this.
And staying in the Star Wars world, Disney Plus released the Lego Star Wars Christmas special.
I can't wait for this Christmas
I'm
special.
so excited to watch it. A lot of people are hyped on it who have watched it already, said it's wonderful. The Lego movies are already really good.
It's just so meta. I love Lego, Lego Batman. I love the meta-ness because it's for kids. At the same time, they're putting so much for adults. You're like, how do kids enjoy this? What do kids know about the 1989 Batman suit that got put in Lego Batman that went over everyone's head? But I'm like, oh, I know that one. Or Polka Dot Man. So that's what they're doing here. And I love the time travel aspect. I love they got the voices for these people.
So I'm excited. Yeah, Daisy Ridley's there. I don't know if John Boyega
I think so. I thought
did it.
Last time I heard it was all of them.
So that'd be wonderful. But I do know Daisy Ridley is in this movie, so I'm just excited for it. I could take Star Wars all day, and this is wonderful because I'll watch it right now, and I'll watch it on Christmas Day.
Happy Light Day.
Yeah, Happy Light Day when it was released. Good Brother, a movie that is coming back. Shark Boy and Lava Girl. We won't spend a lot of time on it. Netflix bringing this back. It's funny. I watched a video about this on YouTube, and it's like the world has this synchronicity in it. But what did you think? I mean, this movie obviously wasn't good at its time. It was at the peak of George Lopez's.
We grew up with it, man.
We grew up with the Spy Kids era. And this was a little bit beyond, already a little older for me.
Maybe you. I was young. I remember watching this on Disney and loving it.
Yeah. What did you think about it coming to Netflix?
It's fun. I don't know if I'll watch it.
Same actors and actors.
I don't know if I'll watch it. I don't. But it's fun to look at and be like, I remember that when we were a kid. But like you said, it falls in that awkward moment of it wasn't Spy Kids that caught the world by storm. It wasn't terrible, but it definitely hit a certain audience. So I'm interested to see who really wants. I feel like it's one of those movies that were made to be more of a talking point that actually be made. For all we know, it could be great. I don't know if I'm going to spend the time watching it. I feel like I will just because I have to see it through.
The only thing I will say is I hate how talented Taylor Lautner is, even at the age of 12 when he made this movie.
Yeah.
Here's a funny fact that I know about this movie. There's a scene where he's doing martial arts, fighting against a bunch of things that flew against the screen. Taylor Lautner was so good at martial arts at that age that the director just said, do a bunch of moves and we'll add the CGI. Yeah. Dude, that is how talented
was
that kid was.
Was that Robert Rodriguez who directed this movie?
I don't think so.
Or was it just, that's his company, I know that. That was his property.
I think his property was it. But that's how talented that kid was.
Who doesn't love a good George Lopez?
Oh, no, he's horrible in that movie.
He's great. He's the best.
It was directed by Robert Rodriguez.
That's what I thought. I knew he had something to be involved in.
Yeah,
I didn't know
Studios was also
if he truly directed it. I like Robert Rodriguez, especially being at the time we were young Hispanic kids. So Spy Kids spoke to us. We're like, hey, those guys look like us, kind of. I know Antonio Banderas. I know Machete. I grew up with these actors. I know all these guys. So I do hold Spy Kids 1 holds a real special place in my heart. I love me, and we saw Spy Kids 3D in the movies. And as bad as that movie is, you and me as young children, watching them go into a video game world and live that life was so much fun.
I will never forgive Marcos, though, for that one.
Because we could have saw Pirates of the Caribbean opening weekend.
The first one, and we all know which was the right choice in that one.
But you know what? To be fair, at that age, I still feel like Spy Kids was the fun one for us. Looking back now, we're like, yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean launched the thing, but I don't know if we would have appreciated it as kids like we did when we got older.
I think we would.
Maybe you and me, but I can forgive him.
I think we would have actually loved the series much more.
Yeah, because I only watched the first 2 and I kind of jumped off.
Yeah. So, but speaking of comebacks, we stay in that train. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Well, we only got a trailer for this, right? It's only a reunion
It's a reunion episode.
Man, remember when we talked about the Friends one that never happened that they paid for?
That still hasn't happened. I love this one. I love that teaser that they gave out. I just love all the feels about it.
I guess because I follow Will Smith on all his socials because I think he's hilarious. I've seen so many behind the things. Like, he's been teasing this reunion with the actress that played Aunt Viv. I just want to see it at this point. I can't wait for him to talk about Uncle Phil, the Shredder.
Yeah.
That's a cool one. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, I want to know more about the new show than just this reunion.
I'm actually more interested in the reunion because I just want to hear their stories. Yeah. I mean, I know we have social media, but like getting them in front of each other, and I think that hook of having the original Aunt Viv back in is actually just a wonderful.
Anytime I can see Will Smith and DJ Jazzy J, it's a good time. Yeah.
Speaking of good times, guess who, boys, it just seems like they got each other's phone number on speed dial. Guess who James Gunn pulled out of the old rotary list to come back?
Maybe I'll fight Apollo, maybe I won't.
So, obviously, he's King Shark, the voice of King Shark.
I hope so.
Obviously, he's the voice.
Because that means, because we know we're going to get King Shark for a while.
Yeah.
To have Rocky being in the movies and Samoa Joe being in the game, like, my life would be made. Like, nerd Alex, boxer, wrestling fan Alex would just be in love. I hope he is. I really hope he is. Like, so
that's all
badly.
It can be, right? Like,
that. Well, no, it could be a quick cameo.
Sure. But
he can be a guard, or like I could see him being a prison warden. Like, I could see James Gunn going the opposite and making it fun and just silly that it's Sly, and then he's gone.
But imagine if he went to the pitch meeting to Sly and he's just like, hey, Bradley Cooper, right? It's like, yeah. He's in
my DC version.
Yeah,
well, we got Weasel. That's his brother.
Yeah, all that money he makes? Yeah. Well, he just sits down in a booth for 2 days and records all his lines, and he's in $1 billion movie. Oh, cool. Yeah, I can do that. That's what Sly is going to do. Sly is definitely going to be the voiceover of King Shark. And if not, then just go get our boy Joe. He's doing a great job as is. With that, good brother, we are going to jump into the sports and entertainment world. But before we do that, you have some reviews for us. What do you got for us?
I watched 2 docs recently.
Yes.
And my new thing is for the show, I usually like to try to watch a new thing weekly just to have something to keep relevant. It's really hard during this year of, COVID and everything. But recently, documentaries have still been coming out. So I did 2 this week. The first one I want to talk about is Crip Camp. It is on Netflix. It basically, I'm going to do real layman's terms today. It's fantastic. It's going to be an early Oscar nom. It basically talks about this camp for, in words they use, crippled children. It's very blunt. It's a camp that was very progressive at the time. It wasn't a normal camp because at the time when parents would send their paraplegic children or any sort of sick children away, they would go to these very disturbing hospitals and it was more of like a camp, like a babysitting thing for the summer for the parents. When this camp they call it Crip Camp, it was more of a 70s hippie movement. It was their Woodstock, and to hear them talk about it and tell these stories is not only hilarious, but it's beautiful, it's inspiring. But then to see where the movie takes a turn talking about the civil rights movement and what they were going through during this. It wasn't a color thing. You had to think these people were not only dealing with racial division, men and women division. They were dealing with the fact that no one really understood they say it best, what to do with them. And I think that almost made me cry to think, man, they don't know what to do with them. They're people. Mm-hmm. But like we live in 2020 where like they can do whatever they want. They're a normal human being. But at the time, the way they talked about these poor children, honestly, these poor adults, not even like younger than us, right, having to fight for their right to live alone, to have a car,
to work,
to be wheelchair accessible. Can you imagine a place not being wheelchair accessible anymore? That was the whole world to them. And it was beautiful to see where they end up. And obviously it's very sad because a lot of these people with diseases don't make it to the end of the doc, but the ones that do tell beautiful stories. I think this is my early favorite. I know there's a lot coming out, and I'm going to do one a week to narrow down those 5 documentaries that will truly make the Oscar list. But man, this one was beautiful. 10 out of 10, Crip Camp on Netflix.
And the second one?
Second one is called Showbiz Kids. This one was written by Alex Winter. He is famous for Bill and Ted. He is not Keanu Reeves. I'm not a big Bill and Ted fan myself personally. I do enjoy the first one though. This is his one of his documentary directorial debuts. Great. It's great. It brings back a lot of these old child actors and it just talks about their life, and I wouldn't say it's revolutionary, but it's fantastic just They're telling their stories. They're telling it how it truly was being a child actor. And we're talking about not even the tweens. We're talking about these like 4 to 5, 6-year-olds who grew up, changed, had to adapt to that change, and then eventually became adults and were out of the business or had to come back to the business. So that one's a very entertaining watch. I think anyone that grew up with these old Different Strokes, the Matildas, the E.T.s, anything that had a real prominent child actor pre-90s, I think this is fascinating. It does show you that they all got it together, and that's a great thing to look at and be like, I'm glad they came out the other end. Like, I'm glad that not everyone from Different Strokes, tragically died, that there's still one survivor. I'm glad these people were able to pick up their lives and be able to look back and tell these stories. So that one I give a 9 out of 10. That one's on HBO Go. Alex Winter's directorial debut. He does a great job. I'm excited to see what else he does as a director, producer, writer.
You totally sold them to me when we were off the air, so I'm excited just to see them. I love this idea of seeing the ups and downs and the reality of trying to make it in Hollywood, trying to be a superstar. It's
rough because they talk, and then they talk about nowadays with the social media and how different it is and what a full-time job it is just to nail like a 3-second commercial spot. And they put a modern story of a kid trying to do it now and a girl that's on Broadway, and it really gets to you of like, man, dude, like it is kind of insane, like the amount of pressure we put on these children for entertainment purpose.
And, living in the podcast world where you're just trying to get a little bit of a fandom. Like, can you imagine when your dream is to win an Academy Award? Like,
well, that's why on this show, we don't go after, especially, we try not to go after actors. Yeah. We try to say, well, maybe the material wasn't great. Or, like he was good in this, but not in this. We never go after child actors for the pure fact of like, man, no one makes something. And like Will Arnett talks about it perfectly. Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton. No one goes into it trying to make a bad movie. So Will Wheaton does a great tangent talking about how Evan Roper destroyed in one of the few films he did outside of his younger roles. They destroyed him and how much it bothered him to think like, man, he did his best. He took all the notes he was given. These kids aren't picking their projects. Their parents are, their producers are. And a few of these grown men he saw on TV just destroy him and say he was miscast, like how much it really messed up. Will Wheaton has a great arc in this movie. Like he's the one that I'm like, man, he's being real with it. Like, and I love his ending of, I'm happy, I have a great life, but man, like I'm messed up. Like this stuff messed me up, and I love his part of it.
And so highly recommended by the Good Brother himself. With that, Good Brother, we finish off this episode with the tradition, unlike any other, in the month of November. Good Brother, it is Survivor Series weekend. You ready to get into some faction warfare between two brands?
I mean, not really, since we just got a brand split.
So with that, let's go ahead and get right into. We'll start off with traditional Survivor Series matches. Team Raw of AJ Styles, Keith Lee, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, and Riddle versus Team SmackDown of Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, King Corbin, Seth Rollins, and somebody to be determined as of Friday after this recording.
Man, you rating that just makes me so sad because last year's Survivor Series, I know again, Chicago, we were there for NXT, but even Sunday's show, like, and I was exhausted from wrestling. I went into it very cynical of like, man, it's going to suck. Survivor Series is might be my second favorite. I love team warfare, brand warfare. Like, I love that ish. I love invasions. We got no invasions. Nope. I hate it. Like, I love when they come up from the stands. Like, I love the showmanship of them attacking the back.
Part of it is
get them, boys.
Pandemic.
I get it. I get it. But even this, like, you could have. They're all filming the same place. You could have done it. We have a battle royal come. You've done battle royals. Like, I don't want to hear it.
And they're going against each other. So.
And like the fact that like Raw picked them, but SmackDown's doing tournament. Like, it's really hard for me to pick, because there's so little meaning behind it. Because anything good is not involved in the 5-on-5 series.
Right.
Everything good's outside of that. So if I had to pick Raw?
Yeah, I'll go Team Raw.
Raw, because they've been building it so bad, but like that has more of the star power, I guess.
Yeah, I'll go Team Raw.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff on the opposite side, like Owens and Uso will cost each other.
Yeah, something like that.
Seth Rollins will get cost by somebody, and then King Corbin.
Congrats for him and Becky. They posted those baby pictures.
Yeah,
beautiful
nice
couple.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Let's move to the women's version of this. Team Raw of Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Lana, Lacey Evans, and Peyton Royce versus Team SmackDown of Bianca Belair, We can stop right there because SmackDown's going to win that one.
SmackDown's going to win.
Yeah, but the rest of the
And that's
team,
my 50-50 booking of like the Raw team's definitely not winning. And like, I hope Lana, it works out well for her.
Beyond that, Bianca Belair is going to be put super over
I
in this
love
match.
Bianca Belair.
Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and two other members.
All
So we'll
those
go
members
to
are so much better.
maybe Big E is on Team SmackDown,
I hope so.
and then he goes on a run and he wins it for Team
Yeah,
SmackDown.
he should do something.
Interesting, because Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn, Bobby Lashley's going to win,
Yes, but that's going to be really fun.
but I think it's going to be a squash match.
Actually, I think Sami Zayn wins that.
Retribution cost.
No, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I'm going to go Sami Zayn winning that
Interesting.
one.
I'll go Bobby Lashley. New Day versus the Street Profits.
Street Profits.
I'll go New Day.
Okay.
Yeah,
That one's hard. Again, these are hard. These are more fun, but that one's a tough one.
Asuka versus Sasha Banks. Asuka.
Asuka, because Bailey cost her.
Yeah, because Sasha Banks has. I think Carmella cost her.
Carmella. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Carmella Bordeaux.
Yeah. How about this one? Drew McIntyre, who won the championship back on Raw, versus Roman Reigns. Champion versus champion. Super fun one. I think it's an easy answer.
I think no decision.
I think Roman Reigns wins.
I think no decision because of the Fiend or Miz or someone. Gets
Everybody's
involved.
getting involved in this.
Yeah,
match.
so I don't think we get a decision. Or if we do, it's going to be really shitty and you can flip a coin of who actually gets a pin.
Tell me what they
Actually,
do.
no. Now that Drew's a champion, yeah, the Fiend's going to cost him it,
Yeah.
or Alexa. So, like, Roman will win, but, like, it's going to be a screwy finish. But, yeah, I'm going to go with, you know what? You convinced me. I'm going to go Roman winning for the pure fact of we're going to set up Fiend going forward, I think.
But there will be a Fiend appearance.
There has to be. And, like, Miz, maybe.
Yeah,
I can see Miz cashing in and winning.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if they're willing
Or are
to
you going to
take
save
off
it?
on- yeah.
Because the whole rumor is, are they going to count it as a year from Money in the Bank? Or are they counting a year from when Miz got the Money in the Bank?
Oh, I don't know. That's a
Like
great
kind of
question.
erasing Otis's thing and being like, well, we can count it from now. There's rumor of like, well, what if Money in the Bank comes around and now we have 2 Money in the Banks?
That'd be interesting. I don't know, 2 titles, so that'd be very interesting. But what I find just as interesting, what are they going to do with The Undertaker?
Man, that's tough. There's rumors they might finally do that Cena match they've been waiting for. The Fiend rumors. There are rumors he might retire. Might be an actual thing where like he sets up one more match, but they're already talking about him producing at NXT.
And he's doing all the interviews because I love
Like,
the one he
man,
did with
he's
Kane.
coming out big. That's what I'm saying. Like he's
Watch that. Brothers of Destruction on the WWE Network was
They
phenomenal.
did the Paul Bearer one.
Yeah.
They're really setting it up like not over the top, but you're like, man, this might be the end of his in-ring career, and we might get him as just a backstage guy, which is okay.
I'll say he's retiring.
I hope he's retiring. I really hope this is it, and that's the big part of the night of like him just finally getting to say goodbye.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say no to like maybe one more match with AJ or the Fiend or someone fun or like a Cena or maybe Sting. Maybe we finally get Sting versus
That would be
Taker.
fun.
How fun would
That would be super
in a
fun.
boneyard match
Yeah,
though?
that'd be
I don't
super
want a
fun.
ring match,
No,
and
no,
I don't
no.
want Taker to ever do a ring match again.
Neither men
honestly.
need to ever take a bump
Don't
ever
like
again. in their
do
life.
something fun and
Yeah.
film it.
But yeah, I agree. I think he's retiring. I think that's
so
the end
too.
of it.
I hope so.
So that is our thoughts of Survivor Series 2020. Hopefully it ends up being a better show.
Man,
than we
I
think
hope
it is.
so because I'm going in with very low, if none, expectations.
With that, there's high expectations for this year's NBA draft. The Chicago Bulls at number 4. A lot of rumors. Will they move up to number 2? Will they trade Wendell Carter and the 4th pick to Golden State to move up to number 2? A lot of different rumors. Good brother, we will be doing a live reaction after the ceremony of our beloved great-grandmother, Josefina. May she rest in peace, and all the love and support to our family there. All the love and support to the Mancha family who lost their beloved grandpa a few days ago as well. So we will be having them in our hearts every single time we do one of these episodes. And with that, we will be doing a live broadcast of the NBA draft later tonight. My reaction video of where the Chicago Bulls will
Who
end
we
up going.
getting? I hear it's very up in the air. Like no one really knows shit.
It's either James Wiseman at number 2 that they trade up. He's a big man, 7 foot. They trade Wendell
I
Carter.
like him. I do like him. A
I
lot.
like Anthony Edwards, who's a guard, but it looks like he'll go early. I do not think they're going to get the ball boy, so I think he will go number 1.
Isn't there this other kid from across the pond or something, or in Europe?
There's
who's doing
Denny
really good?
Avaji.
I hear he looks pretty good. I've seen some highlights this morning.
He plays in the Israel League, or he
Yeah.
is Israeli. We'll see. I mean, it's been hard because
I
the
hear-
European League, you haven't been able to scout the same way with the
I
pandemic.
hear from what I hear, and that basically me running on the treadmill an hour and watching SportsCenter is you don't want to be the number 1 or 2. Or you don't want to be the number 1. That if you're like from 2 to 7, you're in a nice spot because you're going to get a nice player. But you don't want the number 1 because it's so unknown who's going to really be the star. Because you can easily find the star at number 7, they say. Is that true?
You could be the star in almost anything.
But especially this year specifically.
Like, you could fight. Because here's the thing. Yeah, there's no guarantee that the number one pick this year is the star.
Yeah.
The number one, the star of this draft can be pick 8. Can be pick 3.
That's what I've been hearing. I hear like that nice spot between 2 and 7. Like there's a star in there, maybe a few, but like you just don't want to be one because that's a lot of pressure.
And it depends on what's going on, who makes a move. Will James Harden end up in Brooklyn? Will he end up in Philadelphia? How does that change up for anybody? Will Russell Westbrook end up somewhere else?
What are the Nets going to do? What are the Bulls going to do?
We find out that Chris Paul is now a Phoenix Sun. Like there's a bunch, and the Oklahoma City Thunder have everybody's draft picks. So there's a bunch of stuff going on right now that is up in the air, and I think the right teams in the right markets are going to be in good position. So we'll have our reactions on that.
NBA is so cool about that because it's a worldwide sport now. We're like, man, it ain't just the college kids. It's a fresh 18-year-old. Or it could be some kid like the ball. She went to play in Europe or, any other, Japan, Israel, anything. And, like, I find that so cool about basketball recently. I'm like, that's cool. Like, you're looking at this top 10, and only, like, 6 of them came from college. And there's these 4 superstars that went to Europe and play.
So, and for a lot of inside hoopers, for a lot of basketball heads, it's not the most exciting of drafts because there isn't the number one. There isn't.
You got the quiet ball too. You didn't even get the loud ones. You got the quietest one.
And like there isn't the generational guy that we all can see coming. That's in this one.
Rose.
Yeah, there's no Derrick Rose. There's no LeBron. There aren't any Zion Williamsons. Like there isn't this guy that if you pick number one, even if it doesn't work out, that was the no doubter. You had to pick him number one no matter what. So that's what's going to be very interesting about this draft moving forward and how we look back at this draft 5, 6, 7 years. It's like, who was the Dwayne Wade of this draft?
Good on NBA because the NBA still shows it's the organization that has it the most together.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? And we're getting basketball.
Man, they are so organized and they're so, God, they're good. Good for them.
So organized that Good Brother. The draft tonight, as we're recording this on Wednesday, this episode releases on Friday. As of Friday, we would have a month and 2 days before the NBA season starts. That's how organized they are.
And we just got a championship. We got trading now. We got free agency, and we got a draft. Again, pay attention to other sports leagues. It's. I get it's not easy, but man, they're making it look real freaking easy.
You mean like the NFL, who's just every other day? We don't know if we're going to
NFL is a little tougher with those big rosters. I'm more talking about the MLB that couldn't get it together for a while.
College football.
Yeah, well, that one's different. Those are children. Like, you're monsters.
We've been talking about that. I can't. Now that I'm off weekends, I can't get into my Saturday football. I can't.
That's a whole different thing.
But with that, Good Brother, that is this episode of The Good Brothers. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts.
Make sure you guys are following us all over the universe. He's on Twitter at Mercado21Alex, Instagram Mercado2121, and the show's on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media, Instagram Mike Mercado Media, and the sports show is on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Make sure you guys like, rate, review, and share us wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network. Become a producer of the show at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We even have swag. Teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves.
Go ahead and get yourself a when in doubt, Merc it out, baby. Sure.
That's on Teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. For the Good Brother himself, Alex Mercado.
Adios.
I'm the Good Brother, Mike Mercado. We'll see you in the next episode of the Good Brothers here on the Mercado Airwaves
Network.
Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves.